Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakudash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to Allah Hakim, who that is doing the work with sincerity and charity, with humiliation all across the four winds. To you I salute. This is the brother Karatazar from the GMS Bahamas camp, back again with another lesson. So today I'm going to be, doing a line back of the brother, for the camp, the brother Yashibwamba lesson. I'm quick to borrow, slow to pay. All right, quick to borrow, slow to pay. So I just want to go in and provide, some, some balance. That's a little bit of balance, to the brother's lesson. Which is, it's a good lesson, everything, and so Lord willing, it'd be edifying. Because quick to borrow, slow to pay, that's a real, heavy situation. And the Bible actually speaks, to that with honesty and compassion, and also it doesn't ignore the responsibility, of the lender, but it also doesn't crush someone who is also struggling. You see? So Lord willing, we're gonna get into it. You see? So when you look at the borrower, right? Or borrowing basically creates a moral responsibility. And scripture is clear that when you borrow, all right, you intend, to pay back. All right, so you have to also, pay back. All right, so let's get into one or two precepts, right? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37 and 21. It says, "The wicked borrow it and pay it not again, but the righteous show it mercy and give it." All right, now this isn't saying a righteous person, ain't gonna have, money problems. All right, it ain't saying that. But what this is alluding to, what this is pointing to, this is pointing to the borrower's character. All right, this is speaking to the borrower's character, because again, when you borrow with the intent, to pay back. You see what I said? Now the wicked, they don't care to pay back or to repay you. They just want what they want, and they out. And it ain't supposed to be like that. But when you upright, the upright cares deeply. Even when it hurt. You see what I saying? But where the wickedness come in is this: when you could pay and you don't pay back, that's where the wickedness comes in. So your inability, to pay back right then, that don't equals, wickedness, because you're pretty much struggling at that time. You see, I wouldn't say you're making an excuse, not to pay, because you got to give a specific timeline as to when you could pay back. You see what I said? But if you don't have the ability to pay, or something may befall you, and you let the lender know, that don't equate to wickedness. You see, now when you refuse, all right, or refusal or deception, is the issue here. You see? So meaning what? When it's time to pay back, you give a story. Oh, this happened, or that happened, this before me. This is the reason why, I'm not able to pay back at this particular time. You see? Also, the scripture warns against, careless borrowing. All right? Now, borrowing itself isn't forbidden, but it also is treated as something serious. You see, because we in a society, and we poor. All right. Now, in this thing, especially amongst the brotherhood, some brothers is gonna have more than others. That just how it is. That again, that's how it is. That's how the Lord set it up. You see. So again, some brothers is gonna have more than others. But like I say, the scripture warns, a borrowing warns against careless borrowing. All right. So we're gonna touch on that a little bit. So for that, we're gonna go into the book of Proverbs. Okay, chapter 22 and verse 7. Okay. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 7. It says, the rich rule it over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. See that? The borrower is servant to the lender. That means debt, Salakia, put you in a position of dependence, not shame. All right, but also vulnerability. You see what I said? The scripture warns us to avoid unnecessary pressure, on relationships, especially, between brothers. So that means that, hey, look here, not because, this particular brother is in a position, that don't mean every situation or you find yourself in, that don't mean you must run to the brother and say, well, man, look at X, Y, Z. You understand? You got to also take accountability and responsibility for the position you put yourself in. All right? That don't mean you got to constantly bombard the brother with every situation you may find yourself in. You see? All right? So that is what that precept there, is speaking about. All right? Now, what I also want to speak on, what if you can't pay back on time when you borrow, from a brother who's in a position to lend you? Right? What if you can't pay back on time? And what I mean is this. Okay? Let's say you ask a brother to borrow X amount of dollars, right? Or whatever it may be. And you intend to pay back, you give him a date anyway when you're able to pay, but you don't meet that date. This is where Yahweh heart shows. You see what I said? This is where it shows. Now, how that matters? Because the Bible values truthfulness over appearance. You see what I said? So you got to be truthful. Because things do happen. All right? Things do happen. And whereas you may not be able to pay on that specific date. You see what I said? So you have to be truthful about your situation. All right? So for that, let's back this up with some precepts, right? So for that, we're going to get the book of Proverbs chapter 12. All right? Proverbs chapter 12, verse 22. Okay, it says, lying lips are an abomination to Yahweh, but they that deal truly are his delight. All right? So, if you can't pay on time, the borrower, the righteous response supposed to be like this. All right? And this goes for any brother. All right? Your response supposed to be like this. You're supposed to reach out and communicate with that brother a little earlier as to, why you can't afford to make that payment on that specific date. You have to speak plain. All right? Now, that ain't means that, hey, you shouldn't, that ain't means you should hide, okay, when it's time to pay back. That don't mean you should be ducking and dodging. You see what I said? Because this is where the problem come in. Because the Most High Power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he honors truthful delay more than false peace. You see, Yabashim Yahushai honor truthful delays rather than false peace. All right, so let the brother know, well, hey, brother, look here. I know I was supposed to pay you on this particular time, but hey, I was doing this, and this ain't got to work out at this particular time. So hey, and you let that brother know way before the time come. And when you be truthful and you be honest, it is his job to have mercy and compassion towards you. Because remember, all of us poor. All right. So with that being said, a brother is expected, to show mercy. All right. Now this part cut both ways, especially, amongst brother in the faith. You see, especially amongst us brothers in the faith. This, as a matter of fact, let's let the scripture speak. All right. Yeah, I got my light here because the light here is a little bit dark. You see, so Salakia, for the light here. So the next precept I got here on deck is the book of Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 35. All right, Leviticus 25 and 35. It says, and if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yeah, though he be a stranger or sojourner, that he may live with thee. All right. So, man, you're supposed to show that brother love still. You see? You're supposed to, you and that brother supposed to bond even closer. So let's go ahead and back this up with the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 42. Right? It reads, give to him that asks thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. You see that? So the expectation is that brothers, don't be treated like a bank. Because you have to remember now, mercy is a part of righteousness. That goes what I was saying earlier. Certain brothers in the position, certain brothers have more than other brothers. But that don't means, you should constantly go to them, and be borrowing. That ain't that, the scriptures is against that. You shouldn't treat, the brother like a bank just because, you know that he is in a position, to do so. You see what I said? And there's also the borrower, not the borrower, Salakia, the lender, the brother who's in the position. All right. That don't mean he should be harsh, all right, towards the brother who's borrowing. Because what you have to understand is that Yahweh Shem Yahushai condemns harshness over debt. All right. Because if you be hard, with that brother that's in need, who's borrowing, then the Most High is going to judge you for that. You see what I said? And the Bible is firmly against, crushing someone, especially a brother, over money. You see what I said? Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he don't get down like that. So the precept I get to support that is Proverbs. Let's get the book of Proverbs. Salakia. Get the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, and verse 31. He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker, but he that honoreth him had mercy on the poor. You see that? And that's what it's about. All right? Because, again, if you be harsh toward your brother who is in need, okay, the Most High is going to judge you. You see what I said? Because again, he don't like that because he's a brother just like you. Okay? Now let's go back here into the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 33. Okay? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 33. It reads, shouldest not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? You see that? Shouldest not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant? You see that? So, if someone, if the lender, the brother that's in the position, to lend, right, to the borrower, if he use that debt to that brother to bring him shame or humiliate him or humiliation or to control him, then guess what? The lender, that brother, he's outside of the Most High justice. Even though the debt is a debt. You see what I said? The Most High could judge you for that. You see, so you gotta be compassionate. You gotta show compassion, all right, and understand. Okay, okay, that particular thing, that particular situation with your brother. You see, okay, all right. So we gotta have this mindset. We gotta have the ideal biblical mindset. When we deal, when we dealing with the brotherhood and with brothers. I mean, Paul summed it up beautifully. You see what I saying? He summed it up beautifully. Then let's get that precept right. Because again, the borrower shouldn't be taking advantage of the lender, and the lender shouldn't be harsh with the borrower. Okay, this is the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 8. It says, "Owe no man anything, but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law." Meaning what? The borrower should strive to repay. All right? The borrower should also be able to walk upright and with integrity, while the lender shouldn't be looking down on that brother saying, man, um, I don't need to hear from this brother if he in need or if he wants something. But because you got to remember, I want you to remember this: love outranks and outweighed money. The love of Yahweh Shem Yahushai outrank all of that. You see? So, yeah, man. So I want you to have this mindset. But the bottom line is this. All right, to the borrower. If you borrow with honest intent and you hit hardship, you ain't condemned for that. But what happened? You are expected to be truthful and make every effort, okay, to repay. And to the lender, if the borrower isn't able to pay, to repay back on this particular date or a particular time he said that he was going to be able to pay, you don't have no right to have the treat that brother harshly. All right, because remember, this is all from the Lord. All right, this is all from the Lord. Okay, um, right. I can read this precept again. Romans 13 and 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth one another hath fulfilled the law. You see what I said? And that's it. All right. So your money or money don't outrank this. You see what I said? Because things like this is gonna happen, within the brotherhood. See what I said? Again, for the borrowers, all right, you have no right to try to take advantage of the brother that's able to the brother that is in a position, you know, to lend. And to the lender, you have no right to act cool and condemn that brother, because of um, whatever hardship he's dealing with. You have no right to shame or threaten or humiliate or control that brother. That just ain't right. All right, because to do good, to know to do good and do it not, that is sin. All right, so Lord willing, I hope that this lesson, was edifying and it served a purpose. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Makakodash, for giving me the spirit to do this video. Shalom Akim. Shalom.